So why is it that we would e-bike? Well, let's get into that. Stick around. So how you like that new intro? Yeah, we're experimenting with that just a little bit. Well, hello again, Internet. Welcome back to the channel. Yes, sir. Why is it that we would choose to e-bike? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of give you some reasons that I think you should, and why am I going to do this video? Well, we recently just got over 400 subscribers not too long ago. Number one, let me thank you guys for that. Yeah, to think that there's over 400 people interested in what I have to say about e-bikes kind of blows me away a little bit. But I thought, you know, if we get some people that are watching this that are maybe new, I can't believe I just seen that. I want to go back and take a look at something here. Some new people that are thinking about getting into this might look at this video and they might just say, you know, that's a good point. I never thought of that. And it might influence them that they get the correct bike. Now, we're not going to get into what kind of bikes to buy or anything on this video. We might do that in another video. Yeah, this is a block wall. And I don't know how well you can see that, but a doggone fair-sized dog could crawl underneath of that wall. It looks like they have got a little C-channel in there with 2 courses of block laid on top of that, so you have no structural strength to that at all. Nothing but that channel holding that up. I don't know, maybe they never heard of footings, but it's like that all the way. That's really surprising. I go by here quite often, and I would have thought they had a footing under there. Not sure why they wouldn't. For as much as they've got into that wall, it would not have cost that much more. It's not mine to figure out. But so if we get somebody that watches this and you know, and they start asking themselves the question, why do I want to cycle? That might kind of influence what they buy. And I'm not going to get into any of the options of what you buy right now or anything like that. All I'm doing is talking about why you would e-bike. And I'm going to give you some reasons that I know of why somebody might take up e-biking. And I'm going to tell you the reasons that I personally did along the way, because I think there's enough new people here that maybe you haven't heard why I do what I do. But so why would we e-bike? What would be some reasons for that? Well, if you're a cyclist and you're getting older, that would be a reason. What about somebody that lives in a city? They're younger, but they have a job where they deliver DoorDash type stuff. Man, that'd be better than getting around on a car on an e-bike. That'd be a reason. Therapy. Russ up in, I think it's Chicago, he started out therapy for his knee. That's why he bikes. And trust me, if you watch his channel, you know he has a certain type of bike and certain options on that bike that he wants because of why he started e-biking in the first place. And so, you know, and that's the whole reason for this video, to have folks thinking, you know, maybe thinking out loud. So that would be a reason. Well, now he does reviews. That's a different reason. That's a different reason. I'm sure it influences the reviews that he does, but that's still a different reason. And there are several other people that I would kind of call my friends. No, not kind of. I do call my friends that they're reviewing bikes. That's a reason for them to ride. They get out. How about going to the store just for commuting? You can commute back and forth to work. That'd be a reason. You can commute to a store. I know Richard, Rip One Outdoors down in Mississippi, he goes to the drugstore all the time on his e-bikes. And so there's a reason right there. Here, that's not an option for me. Never got into reviewing the bikes except for the ones that, like I built this one. What would be some other reasons? Just relaxation. Yeah, I kind of use it for that. Trust me, I use it for that. Uh-oh, I'm starting to feel some rain coming in. I really don't feel like getting caught in the rain. But that would be a reason. Exercise. That's one of the reasons that I cycle as well, is just for exercise. Yeah, them clouds are looking kind of dark. You know, I look over at that just looked like a perfect ramp. Michelle would say, don't do that, you know. I think I'm about 5 miles back this direction. I think I'm about 9 miles that direction. I think I'm gonna backtrack back here a little ways is what I'm gonna do, because them clouds, I really don't feel like getting caught in the rain today. Socializing, people could use it for that. I guess you could say I use mine for socializing with my wife some. And I have considered getting a group of people together to kind of socialize with a little bit. So that could be something that you do. What else could it be? Put down in the comments some ideas that you might have of why you would want an e-bike. Now, I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to try and make this relatively short, of why I do. You know, well, first off, let me tell you flat out, I'm a workaholic, period. I come by it honest. I cowboyed for a long, long time, and funny thing about a horse is they're kind of like us. They like to eat 7 days a week. And so as we would be out there and feed them, it wasn't nothing to step on them and ride them. Most of what I did was riding a lot of colts, and that was no big deal, especially when nobody had handled them before. That was pretty easy. And so the hardest part was taking care of them, especially when I got here on the East Coast, you know, where there wasn't as much room to just turn them out and go collect them up. You can take a little time off that way, but you can't winter in smaller environments. But so I would just ride them, and that translated into working 7 days a week, and I didn't think nothing of it. I did that for a lot of years, an awful lot of years. And then we started another business. I say another business like that was a business. That wasn't a business, that was a self-employment. The farm was a business that we had, but it was more self-employment, because if I wasn't riding, I didn't get paid. When I would judge shows, if I wasn't judging, I didn't get paid. So that was a self-employment is what I had there, not a business. But we started an actual business, and I went right into that. Of course, a new business, you know, went into that 7 days a week, and I started to recognize, hey, this is going to be a problem. So we needed to back off on that somehow. And so what did I do to back off of that? Well, I'd always played around with a classical guitar, but I got pretty serious about it then. And so I started getting serious about the classical guitar. And then when we would do our traveling, whether it was business or if we just took a long weekend somewhere, when we would go to the hotels, I'd play guitar down in the lobby, especially around breakfast and that. People loved it. People loved it. And I always have, I'm not going to say an addiction, but it always pleased me when people were getting enjoyment from me. That's why I started doing quite a few clinics and working with people when I was doing the horses. But you know, we would do that. Well, then come along and COVID hit, and so traveling, boom, it was gone just like that. And we were looking for something to do. Of course, the business that we had to go into was providing awards for competitions, for events, and every event in the entire world got canceled. And so you better believe I was working like crazy to make sure things, you know, stayed afloat. And as it turned out, man, things were busier than they ever were. I don't know how, but they were busier than ever, and they've remained that way for the whole 3 years or so, 2.5, 3 years. They've just remained wide open. So, but along there, we had to decide of something different to do than the guitar. Just wasn't no motivation to go and play the guitar in a room by myself. So I had thought about maybe getting a dual sport motorcycle, take Michelle with me on the weekends, and maybe I could go through the week, go out and find some off-road places to ride. And she's like, no, you're not taking me with you on the weekend. I rode with you on a street bike one time, and I told you then I'd never do it again. That was when we were dating back in the early 1980s. She never forgot that for some reason. I rode a lot crazier back then when I was racing than I do now. But that wasn't such a grand plan anyway, because there's not really much place to ride it. But she had suggested bike. We rode one down in Florida when we were down there a couple years earlier. It wasn't an e-bike, it was just a regular bike. She said, well, hello, squirrel. Well, he wasn't interested in getting out of the way. She had mentioned that, you know, that would be a good idea, e-bikes. And so, hey, we jumped on the bandwagon, got in there. We bought us a couple of e-bikes. We've both ended up buying some other ones since then. And it went from there. And that was working out pretty good. You know, that kind of distracted me from work, gave me something else to do, especially this one, because I got to build it, you know, and so that was all great. See if we can stop here, keep our balance. Yeah, you know, it's getting longer and longer that I can keep my balance while just keeping my feet on the pegs. That's pretty neat, actually. Now, let's see if I can get up through here without dragging jaggers across my arms. But that was working out pretty good to keep me from, you know, jumping in there and going to work. The problem came in when summer came along and it was really hot. Oh, which way do we go? Which way do we go? Which way do we go? We're gonna go down the hill. It just seems like this is the only way. It just seems like this is the only way to go. Yeah, we'll drop down this way. When summer come along and it got real hot, why, you know, I just stayed in the shop and stayed working. And so Michelle had suggested, she says, you know, you really have always really liked when people are, when you have an audience of some type. She says whew, what are we dragging here? What are we dragging? Stick. Got my bike stick. You ain't getting no free ride. She said when you were doing the clinics, you would come alive, you know, when people were there, with the guitar stuff, you know, that's what you really liked. What if you get you a GoPro camera and you start filming this stuff? And then that gives you something to do when it's real hot in the day to get you out of work. And you can come up here and work on editing the videos. I don't know nothing about doing anything like that. And she said, well, that's why you have to learn. And so I bought a GoPro. Same one that I'm using right now, actually, the exact same one. And we're still learning, and I'm still trying to figure out this social media stuff, because I don't think we're hitting the mark on that at all. But that's why I do the YouTube channel, and that's one of the reasons that I ride the bike. But there are some other reasons that I do as well. I'm using it to get back in shape. That's why I bought the bike that I have. And let me step off of this bike here for just a second and show you what my bike is, because like I say, we got a lot of new subscribers. But it's a Trek Marlin 7, and we put a Bafang mid-drive kit on it. It's the BBS02, and so it's very lightweight bike. I'd like to say it's a very strong bike, but I've got it actually tuned down to where it doesn't run real hot or anything like that. So yeah, it'll get me 30 miles an hour, 31 miles an hour, something like that. But it's not going to go much past that, and I better not be traveling up a hill. Now, we could open it up a little bit more. I've got to really watch here with this high grass. You know, you would think as much as I come through here, I would know exactly where all these little trouble spots are, but anyway, I don't. But you know, that's plenty fast for me, and that keeps it from running too hot, so I've got it tuned down a little bit. And then I get long distances out of it too. But that's the reasons that I do my biking. And actually the YouTube channel is kind of a little bit of therapy for me. The biking, now what has it turned into? Man, I love it. I love it. When I was younger, I raced off-road motorcycles, and I was pretty fast at it. And the first bike that I got was my ECOTRIC fat tire bike. And I got to tell you, I went out to some off-road trails and I hit them, and I found out that bike is really not an off-road bike. It's built to look like one, but none of these very popular fat tire bikes are really truly for hard off-road. But they're all can get you around on it. But man, when I hit them trails and I was busting through them trees and tipping my bars through there, it brought me back to being a kid. So, you know, I was hooked from that point on. It turns out I actually enjoy riding the greenways with my wife more than anything. So, but we're dropping down more rabbit holes there. So, I guess I'm going to go to you guys and I'm going to say, you know, why is it that you ride an e-bike? I'm going to put it out there to everybody out there. I don't care if you're doing a YouTube channel, if you're not doing a YouTube channel. Why is it that you ride an e-bike? Think about it. You might have to. Sometimes we just start doing things just to do them. But think about this and tell me what it is that you're riding for. And hey, if you stuck around this long and you like kind of what we're doing here and you'd like to see some more, do me a favor and hit that like, hit that subscribe, and we'll see what we can do to keep rolling out content. You know, like I say, we're still trying to figure out this whole social media thing, and so we are definitely a work in progress, just like my cycling is a work in progress. I guess we've went 3,000 or 4,000 miles on them now in the 2 years that I've been riding, probably something like that. So, but we're still a work in progress. So, yep, comment down below and let me know also if you'd like me to do another video. I did one way back on the different options that are on a bike, but with the more knowledge that I have now, might be able to give you more. Let me know if you'd like to see a video on that as well. But I think that's going to wrap it up for this one. Like I said, relatively short, and I'm not riding too long of a ride today. Yeah, and I guess we're going to be maybe 10 miles total. Yeah, well, a little bit more than that, but I need to take it easy over a couple of weeks right here on the biking a little bit, but then we'll be back to taking the longer rides. But hey, I think that's going to wrap it up. You know, I've been dropping down rabbit holes, rabbit hole, and rabbit hole. I'm going to wrap it up with that right there. So, hey, till next time, Internet, this Southern E-Biking telling you, stay safe, God bless, keep the wheels rolling. Once again, we're out.